everyone, I am Rebecca Ball and I'm going to be bringing you the devotional for today. It is about Gideon and his army and it comes out of Judges 7 and it's 1 through 21. So let's get into it. It says, early in the morning, Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all his men camped in the spring of Herod. The camp of Midian was north of them in near the valley of Morah. The Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel would boast against me. My own strength has saved me." This part proves to me that God knows the big picture of everything in our lives, and He knows what we need, what we don't need, and He is in control. And right here, He's in control of the amount of people that Gideon really does need. And really, he's in control of all of this, but right now he's telling that Gideon that he has too many men, and because he wants them to know, everybody to know, that God was the one that really did save them. And now it says, "Now announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead." So 20,000 men left, while 10,000 remained. But the Lord said to Gideon, "There are still too many men. Take them down to the water, and I will thin them out for you there. If I say this one shall go with you, he shall go. But if I say this one shall not go with you, he shall not go." So Gideon took the men down to the water. There the Lord told him, "Separate those who lap the water with their tongues, as a dog laps from those who kneel down to drink." 300 men drank from cupped hands, lapping like dogs. All the rest of them got on their knees to drink. The Lord said to Gideon, "With the 300 men that lapped, I will save for you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home." So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites home, but kept the 300 who took over the provisions and trumpets of the others. So God dwindled his army down in this kind of strange way, and Gideon still stayed faithful. He still knew that God knew what he was doing. He knew that he didn't really need that many people, because it was the power of God that he would be saved from this army. And so now it says, "Now the camp of Midian laid below him in the valley. During that night the Lord said to Gideon, 'Get up and go down against the camp, because I'm going to give it into your hands. If you're afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying. Afterwards you will be encouraged to attack the camp.'" I love this part because it talks about how God knew that he might have been a little bit discouraged in what was happening, and he knew that he needs encouragement. He knew how to give him encouragement, and he just knew that he needed this. And I just think that's so inspiring because it just proves that God knows that what we're going through our minds, he knows that we doubt, we get worried, we stress, we are sometimes discouraged with what he wants us to do, but he will give us the power that we need to overcome that doubt or fear. And so to go on, it says, "So he and Purah and his servant went down to the outposts of the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and all the other eastern people had settled in the valley, thick as locusts. Their camels could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore." So there were so many people, and so I think that Gideon was getting a little discouraged and stressed because he was like, "There's so many people, we only have 300 people, how's this gonna work?" So he was listening to God. He was like, "I need to go down to the camp and find encouragement." So it says, Gideon arrived just as a man was telling his friend his dream. "I had a dream," he was saying. "A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling down the Midianite camp. It struck the tent with such a force that the tent overturned and collapsed." His friend responded, "This can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshipped. So this is so powerful. He knew that he was stressed. He was like, okay, God, I'm going to go find this encouragement. You say I'm going to go to the camp and I'll find it. And he heard this dream being interpreted, and it helped him to be encouraged. And he bowed down to God and said, thank you so much. Like, that was, he just worshiped him, and because he knew that that was the encouragement that he told him he was going to get. And it says, he turned to the camp of Israel and called out, get up, the Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands. Dividing the 300 men into 3 companies, he placed the trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them with torches inside. Watch me, he told them, follow my lead, and when I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout for the Lord and for Gideon. So he has a plan, and they're about to take action. So Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch. Just after they had changed the guard, they blew their trumpets and broke the jars that were in their hands. The 3 companies blew the trumpets and smashed the jars, grasping the torches in their left hands and holding in their right hands the trumpets they were to blow. They shouted, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. While each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites ran, crying out as they fled. This last part is so powerful. Gideon, this whole time, listened to God, even though it sounded weird, it didn't sound right. He listened this whole time, and at the end, he said for all of them to shout, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. He was doing this for God, and he knew that God was there for him. He knew that his power came from God. And it says, while each man held his position around the camp, all the Midianites ran out crying as they fled. And this part just proves that so Gideon stood his ground. He knew that God was holding him steady, and he was his ground. He was a firm foundation, and all of his giants fell. The enemy was destroyed, and they all ran out as they fled. And they all ran and cried out as they fled. And in our lives right now, we may think, okay, the world knows what we need to be doing. Everybody else is doing this. Let's do this. Like, that is such a hard thing to overcome. And it says to be in the world, but not of the world. So we can be on this earth, but we are to be here for God and not for what the devil wants and what he is saying is right. So in this part right here, it says if we hold our ground and if we believe that what we are doing for God is right, and we just stay steady on that, then our enemies will be gone. They will flee. They can't harm us anymore, because God is our power, and he knows what we need and what we don't need. And that what we don't need is what the devil wants and what the world is doing. But we are apart from the world, and we are doing what God wants us to do. And that is such a hard thing to do, but it is totally worth it. And it says in the Bible so many times that doing what God wants us to do is totally worth it. So that is all the reading that I have. But I did want to talk about this other thing that I got this from this magazine. It's called Brio, and it has like a reading thing, like for like weekly readings, and it is a girls magazine, and it is from Focus on the Family. It's BRIO, and it is a very good girls teen magazine. It talks about modern topics, social media, going back to school, fighting the battles of this world, and self-love, and like loving yourself and still loving others. And it answers so many questions that so many people have, and like there's information from doctors like on different things that every teen has questions about. And this has helped me so much, because I believe that when I like I've had it happen before where this came in 1 month, because you get a subscription and they send you one every like 2 months. And one time I got this in and I was struggling with something, and like on the front page they have these different like topics on what's in the thing, and there was one where it had exactly what I needed to help me overcome like what I was going through, and it helped me out a lot. So I just really think that God wanted me to talk about this today. And so if any other girls out there wanted something to read through or find answers from a godly perspective, this is a really good like tactic to fight the devil and to just stay strong with God. And I have so many of them and they're totally worth it. And you can get a subscription, or you can you could do that, or you could even like you can get one and just try it out and see how it is. And there's just so much good things, and there's even like fashion tips and crafts and recipes, and I just love it so much. And it's like friend things too, but there's so much good stuff in these, and I just totally recommend it to anyone wanting something like this. And I believe this could be an answer for a bunch of things and a bunch of people. And but that is all I have today, and thank you so much for listening and having a time with me today. And I will see you all later. Bye.